Hello again. This little video is going to be about setting up your Wacom tablet to work efficiently. And again, like all these workflow suggestions, it is just a suggestion because I'm sure people have evolved their own workflow over the years. I've been using ZBrush for, well, since version 1.5, which was a long time ago. I think I bought my first copy in 2001 and been upgrading ever since, and Pixelogic haven't charged me a penny, so great value. But I've been using it a long time, and I've developed these workflows. My current workflow works with an Intuos 3, and really the thing about mapping the buttons on the Intuos 3 is that you want to cover all your magic modifiers with the controls, with the buttons that are available. So again, we have control, which does all this magic for masking, clearing mask, inverting mask. So we want to get that. We want to get Alt, which allows you to kind of sculpt out, right? And then with Alt enabled, sculpt in. So it's the quick modifier for Z add to Z subtract. So you really want to have that easy at hand. And all of these workflows that I'm talking about, all my kind of shortcuts are there to keep me from spending too much time on the keyboard. Like I mentioned before, my left hand is on my pen, my right hand is on my tablet buttons and the slider, and I'm like that for about 90% of my workflow. Okay, so I map Control, I map Alt. We need to map Shift as well, right? Because Control Shift gives us the ability to, just from our tablet, do our quick selects. It also gives us slice curve and all these clip curve options. This is going to look bad. Got to go the right way with the clip curve. So Control Shift, mapping Shift is really important. Okay, so that takes care of 3 of my buttons, and I'll show you the actual Wacom tablet configuration, how I set this up in a second. I have 4 buttons available, so the first 3 are Alt, Control, and Shift, and the 4th one is my hotkey for the marking menu that I set up in the custom UI lecture. Right, so this resembles the marking menu you get with the space bar, but this is tailored to what I use most. Right, so I can mask and transpose and change materials and modify my lights just by hitting a button on my tablet. Now, the last magic mapping that I have to share with you is, I think, a beautiful one, and maybe you can incorporate it into your workflow. And it has to do with the touch strip. Not a lot of people use the slider on their tablet. In Intuos 5 or 4, it's the ring, kind of the circular wheel. Intuos 3, it's the slider. But what I do for this, and this is magic, under miscellaneous utilities, you have brush up and down. I showed you this already. I Control Shift click and map this to arrow keys. Sorry, Control Alt maps the thing, and then I'll map it to left and right square brackets, not arrow keys, sorry. Left and right square brackets, although you could use the arrow keys. And then in the tablet setup, I map those to the touch strip. So what I'm able to do is, sliding my finger up and down the touch strip, I'm able to block step my cursor size up and down by 10 just by sliding my thumb up and down, which is fantastic because a lot of the workflow for kind of getting really precise kind of details and controlling your mesh has to do with changing the size of your brush. And if you have to go up here or be on the keyboard to do it, you're going to be slowed down a lot. And so this is beautiful. And I will show you guys a little screen capture of my hand on my tablet buttons in a minute. Okay, so in ZBrush, that's kind of the explanation for all my mappings to my tablet. And I'll show you the control panel right now. Okay, when you're mapping your tablet, in OS X, you go to this thing. There's a similar thing in the control panel for Windows, I know. And you get all this set up. Okay, I've got all this mapped already, so I'm just going to, heaven forbid, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to remap it for you, just so that you see the process and where actually everything goes. Okay, so we'll start with pen grip. I'm going to add Open App. There's quite a few things open, but ZBrush is what I'm looking for. And I'm going to work on the mapping for my pen on this. Okay, so the pen itself has a couple modifiers that I use, which I haven't spoken about. This first one, the front toggle on the pen, I actually assigned to a modifier. I assigned that with Alt, which is Option on OS X. And that allows me to, just by having my thumb on the front toggle, I can go from sculpting in to sculpting out. So cutting and pulling on the mesh just by toggling that. I also have it on my my keypad, as you'll see. My right click, I actually assign this to Control Z. And I call this undo. So I don't need to go to the tablet or to go to the keyboard or the menus to undo, which occasionally I have to do. So I just use the back toggle on the pen. Okay, so that's it for that mapping. In case you care, I map with mouse and landscape, but do whatever you feel works best for you. Okay, now the hotkeys, this is what it looks like on Intuos 3. I'm sure there's something similar on Intuos 4, but I haven't been compelled to upgrade because this works beautifully for me. So add ZBrush.app, and now it looks like it's remembered what I've had before, but I'll just go through it again. So this one down here, I have Control. Over here, my big tall button, I have Shift. So my thumb actually lying across these two right here gives me masking and hide visibility, show hide visibility, masking with this. Shift, obviously, for people who are familiar with the program by itself, gives you the access to the smooth brush. Option is to this little one, which is also Alt on Windows. And finally, this guy is mapped to semicolon, which brings up my marking menu, right? Okay, that's great. Next thing is touch strip. And the way you enable touch strip is with keystroke. And you can see that you can go up or down on the touch strip. And simply it's right square bracket to go up and left square bracket to go down. And that's how I have it. So that resizes my cursor just by sliding my finger or my thumb up and down the touch strip. Okay, is there anything else? I think that is about it. And you guys can try some of these yourselves and see what happens, because really working efficiently with your tools is going to make you faster. And when you're faster, you're happier and you can be more creative. In fact, being faster means that you can fail. You can fail more frequently and get it all out of your system. And then eventually you won't have any more fail left in you, and you can do really good things really quickly. Okay, so that's my setup. And I'll just switch to a little video of my thumb and my keypad working as I sculpt. Okay, so I'm just playing around just to show you guys how all this stuff works. And you know, you can see that I actually am pretty active on the keypad. And hopefully my fingernails are clean and cut, but somehow I don't think so. So anyways. Sculpting a deltoid. I want to do a little, well, Looks like clip curve is enabled, but I'll just switch this to select rectangle. And I'll delete hidden. See if I want to just do a little masking, I'll just kind of paint a little mask on here. Don't ask me why, but I'm just painting a mask. I'll invert, and then I'll just kind of sculpt in there. If I want to smooth, I'm in smooth mode just by hitting Shift. Kind of take my selection a little bit tighter if I want to just optimize my speed. Marking menu, I can adjust my focal shift and adjust the Z intensity for my clay tubes. And hopefully, I'm not going to take this little exercise too far, but it should give you a good idea about how I configure all this. And why I configure it. Okay, so that's it. Look at this beautiful stump. The end.